I have two bodies, but they are separated by 100,000. The first body is cold, often trapped in a paradise, but you have immortality. Immortality. Its flesh and blood can prolong the life of the dying. And the other body is called Yinlu, the youngest king of Qin, but he was already terminally ill. I'm going to die soon, but as long as the silver house can eat the golden toad smoothly, I can become an immortal king of Qin. Then I will lead my cavalry across the 8 wilderness, rule the world. My second body. But I couldn't find my first body, and the first body is also trapped in Peach Blossom Land. Can't escape. At this moment, I am lying in the Peach Blossom Land, staring around in a trance, mountains buried in fog. During these 20 years, I've thought of countless ways to escape from here, but never succeeded. Brother Jinchan, Grandpa is dying. I want a piece of your heart to live on. At this time, a young girl suddenly ran over from a distance. I gave him a casual glance. Isn't it July 15th yet? Don't give me Grandpa. It may not last until the picking festival in 10 days, or the same as before. You give me a piece of meat. I'll wait for you at home tonight, okay? The maiden took my arm and shook it around. I'm not at all embarrassed by what I just said. I feel the warmth of the girl's skin. After thinking about it, I finally agreed. I'll come to your house tonight to find you. After getting my promise, the girl kissed me. I left here happily, and I sighed. How can I escape from here? This flesh of my name is Golden Cicada, already trapped in this wild land called Peach Blossom Land for more than 20 years because the Golden Cicada is immortal. Plus, flesh and blood can prolong life. The villagers here, men, women, and children have eaten my flesh. They also made July 15th a harvest festival. On this day, I will be taken by the 2,000 villagers of Peach Blossom Land. Eat every inch of flesh and blood. In the blink of an eye, it changed to night. Because my senses are different from ordinary people, I haven't reached the door yet. Then I heard the sick voice of the old man coming from the house. Conversation with several others. The village chief only holds a picking festival once a year. Is it too little? There's not enough meat. A man dressed as a hunter spoke first. Wait, July 15th is only a few days away. When the time comes, the altar will be opened. As long as the golden cicada is boiled into a pot of rotten broth, everyone in the village eats a bite. Perhaps we can all live forever. The man known as the village chief recalled in a deep voice. Will Brother Jinchan die this time? The girl is a little anxious. Stinky girl. Don't think I don't know about you too. That's immortality. You made it clear to me. Orion glared at the girl. Now I'm half a mile away, listening to their conversation. There was only disdain and disgust in his eyes. Hee, a bunch of cheap fans. After a while, wait until they finish chatting. I just knocked on the door. Brother Jinchan, Grandpa is dying. The girl opened the door. Take my arm and walk in. Mr. Li Jinchan, emergency. May not make it to July 15th. I'll invite you in advance this time. The old village chief is on crutches, step by step in front of me. I smiled and nodded in agreement. But I know in my heart, although these people look polite, but if I have the idea of running away, I'm afraid they've been imprisoned long ago. And I didn't say much. Pick up the broadsword handed over by the girl's father. He stabbed himself in the chest. The old village chief on the side saw this. Pick up a cigarette immediately. Pick up the blood I shed. And I ignored it. He cut a big hole in his chest with a knife. Then pull out of the heart. A piece of heart meat is not enough for Mr. Li to cure his illness. A whole one is about the same. See me so generous. The maiden and the hunter were so happy that they couldn't close their mouths. I can't die, but the pain is the same as ordinary people. It's just that it has been picked again and again over the years. Give me patience for pain. It has gone far beyond the scope of human beings. After about half a cup of tea, my body was restored to its original state. I looked at the sick smoke with a mouth full of blood on the bed. Cigarette. Old and steaming gores making soup. Didn't say much. Pulling the girl out of the house. Seeing this scene, Liu just pouted. Did not stop. In the blink of an eye, we came to a green farmland. Brother Jinchan, thank you for being polite to me. What? Pretty soon, breathing gets mixed up with frogs and cicadas. After a while, I suddenly asked the altar of the earth fire you just mentioned. What's going on? The girl blushed and was a little surprised. Brother Jinchan, you heard it all. Yes, I heard it outside the door just now. This is the secret recorded in the clan. Only the elders of the clan know. I'm not very sure either. I looked into his eyes, forcibly squeeze out a tear, because I don't want to die. I love you and I want to marry you. I want the rest of my life. Be with you forever in this paradise. After saying that, I kissed the girl's lips again. Superb acting. Let Li Ying, who already has some feelings for me, a little more moved. Okay, Brother Jinchan. I can tell you. I know. But you have to promise. I must not think of running away. I promise you. At midnight, Li Ying has already gone home. Flipping a firefly. I close my eyes. Silently read the clue I just got from Li Ying. And at the same time, 100,000 miles away in the hinterland of the state of Qin, Wang Yinglu slowly opened his eyes. A group of untouchables also deserve to use widows. Another body. My second body. Although he is the king of Qin, but because of physical reasons, you can only move for 2 or 3 hours a day at most. Now the year of the weak crown. Even Shijin's palace can't be opened. If not, the state of Qin needs the purest blood of the Yin royal family to maintain national luck. I'm afraid this king has long been replaced. I got up up and went to the attic of the dormitory, looking down on the grandest palace in the world. But the heart is full of desolation. Tell the truth, I don't know how long can this body last, but I don't despair, because as long as the golden cicada can successfully escape the peach blossom paradise in the southern wilderness, came to Dachin in the central plains, then use meat as medicine, let the silver house eat clean. At that time, an immortal Qin king will lead his cavalry across the 8 wilderness, unify the 6 countries. The widow who prepared the car is going to the library. Just got a clue from Li Ying. I have to hurry, while this body can still move. Find a way to escape from Peach Blossom Land as soon as possible. After a while, His Majesty has just entered the first floor. The surgeon greeted me respectfully. This person accompanied for generations of Qin kings. One of the people I trust the most. Take out all the southern wilderness scrolls. The sooner the better. Your Majesty, please wait a moment. After about a stick of incense, I see the handwritten man, holding dozens of ancient books with dark yellow, came to me. I looked at the mountains of ancient books. Can't help but have some headaches. I'm afraid a day and a night are not enough to find. How many years have you been in this library? I was flipping through a book. Ask each other. From the coronation of the king of Qin above. More than 60 years. Have you seen it? Literature on green sandalwood and fireflies. It is recorded that I have heard of it, but the southern wilderness is a remote and barbarian land. 100,000 miles from the central plains. There's not a lot about fireflies and moss. Tell their widow. No next. And the surgeon told us everything he knew. Among the 100,000 mountains in the southern wilderness, there is an extremely rare red flesh maggot, firefly. If this maggot directly mashes the meat liquid, it will explode with a hot flame that can smelt steel. Are those untouchables? Is going to use this meat maggot fire to stew me. Just what the hell is this flick? After listening to the surgeon, I narrowed my eyes. I muttered in my heart, Your Majesty, when I visited the southern wilderness, I heard from the locals, this flick is evil, must not be contaminated, and it's mentioned in the mumbo-jumbo that the local population has passed down. Once upon a time, immortals died on this flick. Immortal, I suddenly became interested. Just then, the door of the library was suddenly knocked open. A group of soldiers in armor stormed in. Who let you in? I squint, staring ahead with a gloomy expression. Can't Lu or Ari's house come too? The Empress Dowager of Great Qin in the crowd. My biological mother Zhao Ji walked in with lotus steps. Mother, I quickly got up to welcome. Although she is expensive as the Empress Dowager of Qin, but it doesn't get along well with me. There are even rumors among the people. If it weren't for the Yinsha bloodline, no one else can carry the country's fortune. The Queen Mother has long since established a new king. Longer really works hard. It's so late, still reading in the bookshop. Don't do it for the last wishes of the kings. It's killing your broken body. Listen to the mother's provocative tone. I have a faint feeling that something is wrong. Mother doesn't have to worry. I am the king of Qin. It is necessary to focus on national design. Zhao Ji just smiled slightly, and he moved in front of me. Har har, Longer doesn't have to work so hard anymore, because I'm happy. Have a son of the previous king. Although since the death of the late king, the Empress Dowager in the year of the tiger and the wolf turned her hand up. This matter is in the harem. It is no longer a secret, but publicly claiming to be pregnant, or the blood of the dead. Now this is absurd. Mother, do you know what you're talking about? At this moment, my face is as cold as iron. An uncontrollable chi and blood gushed out of his chest. Dragon 2, you may have a younger brother. Aren't you happy? After he was born, if you inherit the fortune of Great Qin, Dragon 2, you can rest. You don't have to worry about state affairs anymore. Ridiculous. The surgeon who assisted for generations of Qin kings suddenly roared. Absurd. Ijer burns incense and chants day and night, moved by Tiandao. In exchange for the ghost of the previous king in the dream, Ying's descendants are thin. The former king, for the sake of this country, I made love with my family in a dream. After this night, the family is pregnant with the blood of the king. Nonsense is just nonsense. The descendants of the Fei Yin family cannot inherit the national fortune at all. At that time, the dragon vein will collapse. The 1,000-year foundation of the state of Qin is completely over. Surgery is so popular. Old stubbornness of the previous dynasty. I read that you once fought bloody battles for the state of Qin. Never mind your endless sins. Empress Dowager who slandered Great Qin. But once again, I will cut you down, even if I die. Can't let this ridiculous thing happen. Just as the surgeon was about to die, I suddenly stood up, reached out and stopped the surgeon. The second brother congratulates the mother again. If my brother can inherit the national fortune, that couldn't be better. I suppressed my anger, changed into a sincere smile. Still my building is sensible. Zhao Ji smiled proudly. It's getting late. Please return to the palace early. After flipping through a few volumes, also rest. I resisted the urge. Own layout over the years. It must not be destroyed like this. Har har, our King Qin is really sensible. Suddenly the back of the crowd, there was a masculine voice. Gonzi? I narrowed my eyes and said to myself, welcome to the dear uncle of the silver building, the brother of the late king. Didn't I let you out? Seeing Yin Qi appear, Zhao Ji's expression was slightly dissatisfied. Although the two of them are struggling, it is estimated that there have been rumors in the palace. Since the Queen Mother has come, how can I not meet the king? I frowned. The Queen Mother just announced that she was awake. Yin Qi appeared beside beside the Empress Dowager in the middle of the night. It's not obvious to tell the world. The child in the belly of the Empress Dowager of Qin. It's the swelling he caused. I'm tired. Fuari's family returns to the palace. Raise your right hand. Signal to cause you to come and support the Queen Mother. The state of Qin has been at war in recent years. I see that the body of the second child has not many days to live. Why don't you take this opportunity to re-establish a new king? Re-establish the new king. You mean the child in the mother's womb? No, definitely not. The new king refers to me, but I'm only acting temporarily. On the day when the Queen Mother and the children of the former king celebrate the crowning ceremony, I will give way to him. Har har Yin Chi. What do you can't? 20 years ago, you committed adultery with your grandfather's concubine. If it weren't for grandpa's face, I'm afraid your kowtow has long been chopped off. Listen to this. Yin Chi couldn't help but be stunned. She glanced at Zhao Ji, who looked unhappy beside her. He changed the subject. It's just a rumor. You're a dying man. Just sleep all day. You might as well give way to me sooner. Har har, silver up, silver up. You really are just a waste who is addicted to female sex. I don't even know what the king's responsibility is. And I ripped my shirt off. I saw it on the rib of my left chest. Tufts of carrion wrap. A fist-sized jade seal was embedded in it. This is the scene. Let everyone here take a breath of cold air. I use my body to maintain the luck of the state of Qin. You're forcing me to step aside now. Do you want to break the foundation of Great Qin for 1,000 years? And then I go around. The cause in Jin Ji came directly to Zhao Ji. Afternoon, my decayed body. No heirs. I won't live for a few years. You are a little too hasty. Right. Zhao Ji's face was solemn. Whispered. Siege of the Widows. It's time to rest. I was pale in the carriage. It can't be delayed any longer. This golden cicada meat must be eaten within 2 years. The sleepy words came in an instant. My body was overdrawn and I slowly closed my eyes. Southern wilderness at this time. I jerked over. Start in bed. Bar if this body is leaking. I would have killed you too long ago. I moved my muscles a little bit. I walked out of the house by the moonlight. Just walked out of the village not long ago. I saw 3 figures appear in front of me. It is the 3 sons of the village committee Zhao Butcher's family. Listen to the conversation. It was the village chief who sent them to get rid of the flies. Fireflies are actually used up. I mumbled to myself. He continued to follow the 3 people towards the mountain. Soon the 4 of us were crossing a few valleys. They came to a desolate forest. The 3 brothers arrived at the place. They took out their respective fishing rods and started fishing. After a while, a few red meatworms were caught. It seems this red meatworm is obviously what Li Ying said before. Flies stare at 3 people in the distance, prepare to reap the benefits of the fisherman. Until a day later, the moon is high again. Exhausted, the 3 Zhao brothers, who have long since collapsed, plan to leave the lake. When ready to rest, I jerk out of the weeds next to it. A sharp calf bone in his right hand directly stabbed through Zhao Lao's throat. After solving Zhao Lao, I did not hesitate for a moment. Keep picking up your leg bones. He stabbed at Boss Zhao again. Damn, this kid is crazy. Boss Zhao, who reacted, scolded angrily, but he is severely dehydrated. My legs are weak, not half as good as usual, although he reluctantly dodged sideways, but there was still a big cut in the abdomen. Third, kill this guy for me. Boss Zhao endured the pain, covering the wound on his stomach, looking at me coldly. Jin-chan, did you eat the ambitious leopard? Grandpa won't kill you today. Just your last name. Maybe it was because his own brother was killed right in front of his eyes. Anger makes Zhao Laosan's body exceed its limit. It's just that I don't have this body either. It's not the same as the medicine jar silver building. After a dozen moves, I caught him making a mistake, shot a leg bone through his entire skull. It fell into your hands today. I admit it. Boss Zhao, who knew he could not escape death, want to swallow me alive. Childhood. You 3 brothers are curious about what's inside your brains. So he stoned me all afternoon. 6 years ago, you cut off another 10 of my fingers alive. And so what? And pigs and you both for eating? Har har eat. You pariahs deserve it too. I jerked out my right hand. It was directly stabbed into the wound in Boss Zhao's abdomen, in each other's stomachs. Just when he was about to die, I cut my finger again, sending his own blood into the other person's mouth. Do you want to die? It's a pity I don't want you to die so simply. This painful but immortal waking feeling. When Zhao Lao Dalian's tongue was bitten, he didn't find it. What are you going to do? What is talking about? I say. Please give me a happy grandfather. What is talk? I really don't know. The village chief said that as long as you catch 900,000 fireflies, then cooperate with the negotiation. You can make the whole village like you. And the transferred fireflies, they were all buried under the ancestral hall by the village chief. After getting a satisfactory answer, I stuffed meat maggots into each other's stomachs, then squeeze hard with both fingers. A dark red flame emerging from Boss Zhao's stomach. Just a few breaths, he turned to ashes. Then, I did the same with the corpses of the eldest and second. After doing all this, I picked up a few broken baskets on the ground, heading down the mountain. After returning to the shabby house, I picked out the fireflies in the basket one by one. But here's the weird thing. Red flesh maggots wriggling down the mountain. It has become very dry at this time. No life. Just then, suddenly there were rapid footsteps outside the house. To prevent fireflies fireflies from being exposed. I was a second before these guys broke in. Opened the door first. Are you okay? Brother Jin-chan, when did you get back? The fist that should be knocking on the door hovered in the air. And behind him, and there stood a dozen strong young men. Hunting in the mountains last night. Just got back. I pretended to cover my mouth and yawned. Boy, just stay at home these days. Don't fool around for me. A young man with dark skin. He scolded in a dissatisfied tone. I laughed in my heart. It seems that this year's picking festival is a bit special. Plus the altar of fire. This made the people in the village worried. I'm afraid I'm at this critical juncture. Disappear. Therefore, the dream of a village's longevity was broken. Got it. I'm not arguing. It responded lightly, let's go. People come and go quickly. But just in case, still left two people stationed nearby. Brother Jin-chan, may I come in and sit? At this moment, Li Ying stood alone at the door, pointing to their house. Brother Xiaoyan, I was tired all night. I'm really sleepy. Brother Jin-chan, don't lie to me. Look at your trouser legs. Li Ying pouted. Know everything. Looks like trouser legs. And I frowned. Quickly look in a low voice. I saw my pants, stained with the blood of the three brothers of the Zhao family. But the blood has formed a black scab. Without careful observation. Not easy to detect. This is the blood of the beast. Not really. Brother Jin-chan, don't I know you yet? You can't starve to death. Not going hunting at all. Li Ying just finished speaking. He bent down and got into the room. Just entered the house. Li Ying was densely covered with shriveled flies on the ground. Startled, Li Ying is not stupid, even a little clever. And after a brief moment of surprise, he came to his senses. According to the arrangement of the village chief, these days they should be the three sons of Zhao Butcher's family to be responsible for fishing fireflies. But fireflies appeared in this place at this time, plus the blood on my clothes. It's not hard to guess. I have already had a conflict with the three brothers of the Zhao family. I quietly closed the door. Xiaoyan, I have no choice but to. You know Zhao Butcher's family. And I was saying this, approaching Li Ying. Brother Jin-chan, did you kill them? Even if the three brothers of the Zhao family. I have been bullied a lot over the years, but they are the people of the village after all. Is your clan? How can you be so heartless? I'm going to tell the village chief about this. Brother Jin-chan, you let me down. Li Ying finished speaking. Run towards the door. Seeing this, I no longer hesitate. He yanked out his dagger and stabbed him in the chest. Brother Jin-chan, you. Li Ying's eyes widened. It's unbelievable. The next second, he had a survival instinct. Open cuffs, biting my arm as usual, and I grabbed him by the throat. Brother Jin-chan, I was young. Don't want to die, save me. Let me have a bite. He only said half of what he said. I gagged my mouth with grievance and unwillingness. Dead pupils full of puzzlement. I went to the window. Look at the two guards guarding. Can you escape from this hellish place? It's up to tonight. Although Peach Blossom Land is surrounded by 5 mountains, but the reason why people can't get out, it's the fog at the top of the mountain. In this 100 years, thousands of people have broken into the fog and tried to cross the mountain, but it's not inexplicably back to square one. Just got lost in the fog. And my plan this time is also very simple. Ignite the entire Peach Blossom Land with fireflies, including all the vegetation in the 5 mountains. I will use fire and burning dust to wash away the fog on the top of the mountain. A day has passed. 2 people stationed outside the house. I finally noticed something was wrong. The time these 2 spent in the house, that's a little too long. Just as they were about to get up and observe, I came out with a bucket of rice wine and a piece of cooked meat. 2 big brothers. You've had a hard day. Must be starving. Dude, you are so strong. Is the girl okay? Because of my image in Peach Blossom Land, it's always been for the good guys. The 2 of them did not hesitate at all. I ate it in big bites. Har har, Sakura is exhausted. I'm not going back tonight. But just then, the 2 suddenly felt their stomachs start to heat up. In the dark night, there were actually flashes of red light. Jin-chan, what are you doing? I wonder how this rice wine with fireflies tastes. After glancing at them, he walked in the direction of the old village chief's house. Haven't taken 10 steps yet. The 2 fell to the ground without movement. After a while, I arrived at the door of the village chief's house. Candles twinkle in the room. There is still a subtle voice. Is there anyone else? I lay by the window and looked into the house. I saw the village chief holding a silver bowl full of blood in his hand, and there's a riddled hole under his feet, like a corpse bitten by a beast. I can't help but recall a rumor I heard before. A year before I came into the world, the only son of the old village chief died accidentally in the mouth of the beast. But there was no such precious thing as golden cicada meat at that time. The old village chief took his son, buried in the courtyard of the house. Son, this is the golden cicada blood I got at Lao Li's house the day before yesterday. You drink slowly, not in a hurry. My thoughts were interrupted by the old man's hoarse voice. After the corpse came into contact with blood, the skin is actually much smoother. My hair stood on end. What the hell is this? Son of an old man. Wasn't he buried 21 years ago? Is it evil? I can't help but take a step back, but stepped on a rotten plank, whose old man shouted, staring out the window with golden eyes. Seeing exposed, I'm not panicking. Anyway, come here tonight, just to find out how to refine yourself, to make others immortal. After all, this is about whether the silver building can rule the world in the future. The old thing is me. I opened the door generously and entered. Why are you here? Didn't I tell them to watch virtue. They are all dead. Killed by me. I underestimated you. Don't talk nonsense with me. Tell me everything I want to know, or I will cremate your son's body now. I took my belt full of firefly powder from my waist. Make it look like you're ready to splash, you villain. The village chief's beard was shaking, obviously pissed off. Tell me how to make the whole village immortal. What is it? The old village chief glanced aside. It seems to be deliberately avoiding my sight. Something is wrong. I'm all too familiar with the look on this old man's face. In the bedroom of the silver building, those little eunuchs who were checked by Zhao Jian when lying to hide one's identity. It's all this virtue. Could it be that there is a secret to making everyone live forever? Old thing, what are you hiding? Watch me approach. The village chief, this bad old man, is so frightened that he retreats again and again. Son, save me. Someone is going to kill your father. Suddenly, the corpse that was lying on the ground. He actually stood up straight. Son, this kid is a golden cicada. It's very neat. The village chief at this time. There is no fear on my face just now, and become a little crazy. I saw the corpse of the village chief's son open his mouth, spit out a white tentacle. It all happened suddenly. Don't wait for my reaction. The right arm was chopped in half by the tentacles, and he wriggles his tentacles. Swallow my arm into my belly. But I don't know why. Swallowing with a thump. The features of the corpse suddenly twisted together. Then many white tentacles grew all over his body. Broken. Now is not the time to eat the golden cicada meat. It really didn't go too far. The village chief was jumping his feet in a hurry at the moment. I'm annoyed that I didn't stop myself just now. Easy to handle. The tentacles on the corpse grew to more than half a foot in a flash. You beast. What are you doing here? Obediently wait until the picking festival on July 15th. Can't you let my son eat it? That's good. My poor boy. Now he has become this kind of person who is neither human nor ghost. The village chief was angry. It's all pointed at me. However, from this sentence, I also smell something wrong. Let your son eat it. Isn't it for the whole village to come together? Become immortal? While I question, the arm has grown out of the right shoulder. I'm worthy of those heartless things. Might as well tell you, from the beginning, there was no such thing as a recipe for immortality. This is all made up by the old man. There is no way to live forever. Heard this, I was taken aback, and I was in a daze. The village chief's son has become increasingly detached from human form. The strangest thing is the stem of the neck. A bronze incense burner monster actually grew. The object looked at me, squirming towards me. Son, you can't eat anymore. Look at what the hell you've become. Wait a minute, it's almost July 15th. We're not in a hurry this time. The village chief stood in front of his son, hands spread out, blocking the other party's way forward. But just then, the monster suddenly leaned down. Without warning, he bit off the head of the old village chief. And the old village chief probably didn't expect it until he died. After calculating for half a lifetime, he ended up dying in the mouth of his own son. And I had an idea. Run out of the old house in a hurry. There are monsters shouting in the village. Come out, everyone. Village chief, Lin Ying and the others were all killed. It's a miserable death. The sound soon reached all corners of the village. Some brave villagers with kitchen knives, tools such as shovels, ran out of the house. Xiao Jin, are you saying that the village chief is dead? The first few people to come out asked worriedly. Yeah, I was bitten off by that monster. It's already cold. I pointed to the distance. The shadowy figure of the monster. Copy the guy for me. Destroyed Lao Tzu's dream of longevity. The village chief is dead. Who will cook the golden toad now? A middle-aged rough man in his 40s. Grab the hoe in your hand. Shout out at the crowd in indignation. Heard everyone around was hyped up. One by one, I took advantage of this gap, slipping quietly out of the crowd. He strode in the direction of the ancestral hall. My purpose is clear. It is nearly 900,000 flies buried under the ancestral hall. The ancestral hall of Taohuaiwan is outside the village, north, about 4 or 5 miles. After a while, I came to the gate of the ancestral hall. After a spin, I soon noticed something strange. Here and everywhere, more or less a little dust. Only the 3 bronze roofs in the ancestral hall, but spotless, appears abrupt. I walked over to the nearest bite top. Sure enough, under a thin layer of soil, it's powder made by fireflies. But these 3 tops are too big. No matter how much I push it, it won't budge. So I picked up the spirit card on the offering table, standing at the downwind port. Shovel up the firefly powder inside the top. Sprinkle towards the sky. The breeze pulls up the powder. In an instant, the ancestral hall was swept by fire. Look at the blazing fire in front of you. I don't think that's enough. What I want is for the entire peach blossom land to be ignited, rather than a mere ancestral hall. But unfortunately, the night wind is not strong tonight. Just when I was racking my brain to figure out a way, the ground suddenly began to shake slightly. Now in the middle of the village chief's monster son, after eating nearly half of the villagers, it's been 10 times bigger. There is a fire in the ancestral hall. Let's go over there. In the face of unknown monsters, terrifying beasts, human instinct, make them feel that the fire can protect them. When they fled to the ancestral hall and saw my figure, they all started shouting at me, Golden Cicada, you set the fire. Golden Cicada, cut a piece of your flesh for me to heal. The more, the better. But I don't even bother to look at these figures. Keep busy with what you are doing. Don't you understand me? See me ignore them. There are people in the crowd who are going to roll up their their sleeves and do it themselves. Only when he first came to me, a foot of cold light streaked across his throat in an instant. This cruel move let the guy who originally wanted to share a piece of meat all bowed their heads, dare not speak anymore. The other side, the monster grew even bigger after eating the last villager. At the same time, he also stared at the ancestral hall in the north of the village. As soon as he arrived at the ancestral hall, he began to kill. Where tentacles sweep past, no one was left alive. I'm hiding behind the big roof. He narrowly escaped the monster's first round of predation. When making an appointment for a cup of tea soon, there are only a few dozen people left in the Peach Blossom land. All of them also entered the belly of the monster. Fairy meat, the monster murmured. Thousands of tentacles rushed towards me. Is this saving the best for last? I cursed. Brains work fast. Thinking about the enemy's strategy, I look left, look right. When you see mountains of firefly powder piled up in the top, a terrible thought came to mind, and I breathed a sigh of relief. Dive into the top. He gulped down the firefly powder in the top, and the tentacles that came seemed to have sensed something. It stopped moving. Look from a distance. I saw my stomach bulging several times. Then he was surrounded by flames. In the end, only a pair of white bones were left. It hurts to death. I lie on top of the churning flames. Young Chien Dahu, come and eat me. Turned into a skeleton, I shook the yellow python shell. After waking up, he opened his mouth to scream, but unfortunately, emotionless monsters are not provoked at all. Out of an instinct for danger, he actually chose to turn around and run away. But how could he run past me who is 80% less weight? Try running again. When I said that, I found the opportunity to jump up on top of the monster, stab him with a hand bone. Firefly flames are not only highly dependent, it's spreading really fast. Not for a while, the monster was burned from the inside out. Let out a piercing cry. It doesn't seem to be the way to go on like this. The monster can only take the burned meat with me, separate the body, throw to the ground. Just like this, with my repeated attacks, monsters are getting smaller and smaller, and even if I only have half a body left, can rebuild the body. War of attrition is not false, but more and more brave. From dark to dawn, and then it gets dark. Firefly flame. It's about to go out. I changed back to the way I was. Only the slightest spark on the skin. On the other hand, the monster sighed. After losing all his tentacles, returned to the appearance of the original corpse. Come on, I'll drink. He clenched his fists and rushed up. Stop beating Jin-chan. A corpse that suddenly remained silent for a long time. He actually stretched out his hands to cover his chest. Beg for mercy. The sudden change took me by surprise. Human or ghost? My name is Bai Lang. Bai Yubao is my father. The name of the old village chief who has passed away is Bai Yubao. I don't know if I'm a human or a ghost now, but I can regain my sanity. Thanks to you. What does it have to do with me? I have some doubts. I wasn't there when Brown was buried. If it hadn't been for the firefly's fire that just burned through this evil creature. Otherwise, I can't regain consciousness. Bai Lang finished speaking. Reach out and stuff it in your stomach. Pulled a bronze incense burner out of a rotting stomach. This is exactly when Bai Lang turned into a monster. Something stuck in his neck. What is this? Qingtan, to be precise, his name should be Qingtan. It was an evil thing that flowed into the southern wilderness from the hands of the Son of Heaven in the Central Plains. But in the Central Plains, it should be called a holy relic. When Bai Lang said the name, obviously hateful. Is there really such a thing? The old village chief said. The lore of longevity is when he made it up. I thought Qingtan was also made up by him casually. If it weren't for this thing, I won't become this ghost. The white wolf gnashes its teeth. I wanted to throw Qingtan's work out, but after thinking about it, he still put his hand down. I know you want to leave Peach Blossom Land. Bai Lang sighed, looking into the fog in the mountains. I can help you. Help me? Why do you want to help me? Bai Lang spoke slowly, told me the history of Peach Blossom Land. It turned out that there was no Peach Blossom Land in the beginning. One day hundreds of years ago, a caravan on the border of the Central Plains, as usual, ventured into the southern wilderness. When passing by this place, 5 mountains suddenly fell from the sky. Fence this place. At first they all wanted to escape from here, but countless failures make them give up the idea. Plus it's rich in material. There was no war. I just stayed here, and also took a nice name, Peach Blossom Land. But in their descendants, there are always a few people who want to leave the Central Plains. Therefore, for the comfort of most people, one of the village chiefs had ordered, no one is allowed to replace their ancestors. It's from the Central Plains, and also fabricated facts. Pack the ancestors into a native soil-raised southern wilderness. Aboriginal people. It is also spreading rumors that there are dangers outside the Peach Blossom Land. As long as someone crosses the mountain, their whole family will fall into the abyss of eternal doom. Another 100 or 200 years went by. No one ever mentioned leaving here again, until more than 20 years ago, after Bai Lang accidentally learned the truth. Just like those who once wanted to return to the Central Plains, but also because of this idea, will be killed by conservative villagers. Golden Cicader, can you give me a piece of your meat? After recounting his own experience, Bai Lang suddenly reached out and asked me, what do you have to do? I was on alert for a while. To help you get out of here, of course. Although Bai Lang's expression was sincere, but I still decisively refused. No, he just ate my arm before. To become a monster. I can't be careless. You're being too cautious. Anyway, if you want to go out, give it to me sooner or later. Bai Lang finished speaking. He turned around and walked in the direction of his house. By the way, he threw the moss in his hand to me. I don't want to touch this evil again, but an immortal freak like you, it might be useful when we get out. It collects the moss. I went back to the village chief's house with him, buried his father with him. During this period, Bai Lang felt guilty. After a few kowtows, Brown took the spade, dig a 3-meter deep hole in the courtyard. Then in the warehouse, the pear blossom coffin that hid the old father for many years, dragged out. I'm not afraid of your jokes, because of the lie of immortality. My father can only secretly carry the villagers every night. It took more than 10 years to make this coffin. How do you know these things? I asked with interest. 20 years ago, after your bowl of blood was accidentally poured into my coffin, I have consciousness. It's just that the body can't move. My blood has the ability to bring back the dead. Not really. Do you see me coming back to life like this? It's an incident at best. The reason why I became such a disgusting ghost, it's all because of that evil thing. It has the effect of nourishing yin and moisturizing. Nourishing yin and moisturizing. I frowned. I thought to myself, could such an evil thing really belong to the Son of Heaven? Let's go. I'll help you get out of here now. After finishing what you are doing, Brown led me towards the top of the mountain. At this time, after Bai Lang and I buried the village chief, and he took me halfway up the mountain into the mist. Golden Cicader, you should have gone in. And I nodded my head. I've been in this fog 100 times, but every time I walk back to the same place. You are already lucky. This fog is divided into 2 layers. The first layer is the miasma that cannot be dispelled, can lead to hallucinations, and the second layer deep. There are countless ferocious and terrifying monsters, so it's hard to escape. Hear him. I'm a little curious. How do you know? So many books have recorded. They are all failures summed up by predecessors. I also saw it by accident. So how are you going to send me out? The white wolf smiled slyly. This method, only you can succeed, because if you want to be free from miasma on the first floor, then there is no body, and the second floor wants to avoid being attacked by monsters. You can use firefly powder. In the mist, open up a flaming passage to the top of the mountain. Just keep them from getting close. No body. What do you mean? I'm a little confused. Just a sentence from Chu Bai Lang woke me up in an instant. Only send out. You can indeed ignore the fog on the first layer. Then I will cut off your head, then throw you down the flame channel. This way, only you immortal freak can do it. It's just that I don't have enough strength right now. It is necessary to eat your meat. Just change back to that ghost look. The white wolf shrugged. Explain your plan in detail. I don't think he would be so kind. Think for a moment before continuing to speak. What about you? How do you get out? I look like a ghost. Why are you going out? Can you show me the scenery outside? Enough. The white wolf sighed. His expression became a little lonely. I thought about it for a long time. I agree with your approach. There's not much time left in the silver building. I've run out of options. And I was saying this. One side cut off a piece of meat, handed to Bai Lang. Bai Lang did not hesitate at all. I put the meat in my mouth. Then he extended the tentacles down the mountain, retrieved 2 big tripods. Here we go. Bai Lang exhaled a mouthful of white air. Well, I nodded my head. 20 years. This moment has finally made me wait. Blank gathered countless tentacles into one. Then he dragged the cauldron and flew into the fog. Soon I saw a thick white fog. There was a long flame. Go ahead and close your eyes. Bite with your teeth. Flick. I gritted my teeth, and he nodded his head. It might hurt a little. Don't hold back. Release Bai Lang's palm and wave it lightly. A new tentacle directly severed my head. Then like throwing a ball, throw me with all my might into the fog. Golden Cicada, remember to take a good look for me. The Central Plains hometown I have never met. White and hearty laughter pierces through the thick fog, echoing throughout the peach blossom land. And everything was going really well. Soon I was out of the last fog. But I can't be happy yet. By a violent airflow, rolled me up into the sky at breakneck speed, until my body is completely rebuilt. It fell to the ground due to its weight, and this time right below me, there is a little girl of 14 or 15, playing happily in the spring water. I hurriedly shouted to get out of the way. The little girl looked up with big puzzled eyes, and then there was a plop. In the palace of the King of Qin in Xianyarn City. It choked me to death. I had been asleep for a few days and suddenly opened my eyes. King, you are awake. Hearing the sound, I turned to look. Weiang, why did you climb into my bed again? I can breathe. For everything he has done, I've seen it all. Your Majesty, you haven't woken up for a few days. The concubine is a little worried about your health. For this, both my distant cousin, Huiyang, Queen of Great Qin again. I have a headache. Her father is the current patriarch of the Longguan clan. So we decided on the doll very early, dear. Although Huiyang is young, but the scheming is deep. For the status of the Longguan clan in Daqin, at any cost. That's why I only have him as a queen. There are no other concubines. Just let the imperial doctor come over for this kind of thing in the future. Don't worry about it. Oh, I see, King. But you haven't had a concubine in Lingsing for a long time. It is better for Huiyang to bow his head. Red cheeks. The widow still has the court to deal with. Let's talk about it next time. I quickly pushed him aside. Then he hurried out the door. Since its establishment 5 years ago, this is probably the body of Yinlu. The 500th rejection of Huiyang. Not because of any anything else, it's because the body is already frail. If you spend another night with Huayang, I'm afraid I won't be able to wake up in a few days. I have to cherish this dragon tomb. Just give birth to a boy. Become the prince. Daddy can sit back and relax in Darchin. The lamb squinted, staring at my left back. After leaving the bedroom, I'm in a really good mood right now. The golden cicada finally left the peach blossom land. Next, as long as he comes to Xianyan City smoothly, I will be immortal. Quickly pass on General Li Shan and Changling Jun to Zhongtai Palace. The guard beside him responded, and he drove off. I've been putting up with it for years. This time, I am bound to take the evil Minister Wang. Eradicate. Come to Zhongtai Palace. I was eating my meal while waiting for Li Shan and Changling Jun to arrive. Take your last bite of tea. Li Shan and Changling Jun also arrived at Zhongtai Palace. King Li Shan Changling Jun is late. Two-person double bracelet arch. Hug your chest. A respectful bow. You all go out. And I waved my hand. He drove away a few guards around him. General Li, His Excellency Changling Jun, please get up. Your Majesty, if you have anything, please tell me. I promise to complete the task. Li Shan was my childhood playmate, and one of the people I trust the most. Southern Wilderness, I need you to go to the Southern Wilderness border. Bring someone back for me. Nanwang is far from the state of Qin. Come back alone with Jinchan. The difficulty is almost the same as learning scriptures from the West. No difference. King Nobane. What's this guy's name? Li never asked me why. Just follow orders. Nameless, though I trust them both enough. But I don't plan to tell the golden cicada. You just have to go to the border. Keep me informed. I will arrange for you to meet. Anyway, the golden cicada is me. At that time, only 2-wire operation is required. Let Jinshan take the initiative to find Li Shan. No, Li Shan clasped his fists and responded. Changling Jun, how is your matter going? King Wei, through my lobbying over the years, the three kingdoms have promised to send troops to attack Qin together. Changling Kuan's words. Li, who was a general, shivered in fright. Fa Qin, what's going on? The old officials of the state of Qin and the then king of Qin. He actually secretly joined forces with other countries to attack Qin. Look at his surprised expression. I couldn't help laughing. I can't tell you why yet. However, as the king of Qin, how could he do something unfavorable to great Qin? Now you only need to go to the southern wilderness border. Just bring that person back. At that time, widows will surely be able to unify the Central Plains in their lifetime. I'm leaving tonight. Absolutely complete the task. If it can't be done, willing to bear the responsibility of being torn apart. Li Shan clasped his fists and bent his knees. Sworn a military order to me. A good widow pours wine for you. So the three of us chatted. After a few more drinks, Li Shan is worried about my health. He left under the pretext of preparing to salute King Zhong Taigong. I will leave the state of Qin in 7 days. We'll meet again on the battlefield. The handsome seals of these three kingdoms are a little heavy. Chang Linjun's face was full of bitterness. For my plan, he has to go deep, leaving the state of Qin that raised him as a traitor. Da Qin will not forget you. I got up and bowed away. This time, the three kingdoms attacked Qin, although it did not come out of the Qing dynasty, but they all carry their own luck. King Xiesi, looking at Changling Jun's skinny back, and I sighed. If not for the desperate situation, I will never let such a loyal old minister. In the state of Qin, he ended up being spurned by everyone. I tasted it carefully. After the last sip of mellow spirits in the glass, he got up and walked towards the bedroom. According to past experience, this body is about to fall asleep, but 3 hours passed in a flash. I'm still staring at the ceiling. What the hell? Why haven't you fallen asleep yet? Could it be that something happened to Jinchan? Go to the imperial doctor. Make me a bowl of calming soup. The guard who heard this thought he had heard it wrong. The king of Qin slept for about 10 hours. I can't sleep today. Why are you standing there? Are you deaf? The slave is going now. I can't sleep at all. So I just put on my clothes and went to the patio. Feel the night wind. Suddenly there was a sound of footsteps. The king heard that you have no intention of sleeping tonight. My concubine specially came to spend the night with you. And I sighed. What should come will always come. Since you can't escape, then let it go. Come in, Huayang, who is standing stupidly at the entrance of the dormitory. In the face of sudden happiness, I didn't react for a while. It took hundreds of rejections to achieve this success. How time flies. We had a sleepless night. I don't know how long it took. The sun has illuminated the entire Afang Palace. The imperial doctor with the soothing soup been waiting at the door for a long time. I just opened the door. Give the medicine to the widow. I picked up the soothing soup and drank it all. I have to. Dr. Hua really has 2 brushes. Soon a sense of fatigue swept through the body. My consciousness is getting more and more blurry. I opened my eyes again and came to the southern wilderness. Why were you tied up? I look at my surroundings. I can't help but think I've fallen into a gang den. I moved my body, but there was a strong sense of dizziness. He was drugged. Just then, the wooden door in front of him was pushed open. A man in rags walked in. A little girl with yellow hair. It's you, I suddenly remembered. This is just before I switch rooms. The little girl you met at the spring. Who are you? Why did you tie me up? IE. The little girl waved her hands desperately. It's like seeing me wake up and freaking out. Because there was some commotion. A middle-aged couple rushed in quickly outside the door. Anesthetics are valuable. Mouth, you dead girl. Just woke him up. The middle-aged rough man man shouted, while picking up a wooden stick and hitting the little girl. Stop hitting, if it pantses. How can we get married tomorrow morning? The women on the side hurriedly stopped. Damn girl, take care of this kid for me. He is your husband. I was a little confused when I heard this, but before I can react, the woman brought me another bowl of anesthetic and fed it to me. Then he and the rough man left. Only the little girl is left here. But they didn't gag me. I bit my tongue hard. Keep yourself awake. Little sister, can you do my brother a small favor? Can you cut the rope for my brother with that kitchen knife? Brother will take you to eat delicious food. The little girl stared at me with wide eyes for a long time. Then he actually nodded. He picked up the rusty kitchen knife from the stove, cut to the rope in my hand, because he has very little strength, to the dark sky. He just cut the 3 layers of thick hemp rope tied to my hands. At this point the effect of the anesthetic gradually wears off, and my 5 senses are back to normal. Suddenly, there were slight footsteps outside the door. Somebody's coming. I put my index finger to my lips and whispered, little girls are also very smart. Instantly understand. Bu ran to the corner and dressed up to sleep, and I lay down. I saw the woman during the day, walked in with an oil lamp. It's the first time I've seen such a strong little boy. Rather than cheaper others, it's better to be cheap first. I can't help but sweat a little. Why is there such a thing in this world besides hua yarn? The man watched the woman rub her hands and approach me step by step. The hand holding the kitchen knife is getting harder and harder. Hey, here I come. The moment he was about to approach me, I slashed him in the neck. Who untied the rope for you? Woman clutching her neck, a face of fear. You spare my life. I'll give you anything you want. Don't wait for him to finish. Here I am again. Finished him with one knife. Are ye at this time? The little girl suddenly walked up to me, grabbed the corner of my shirt. There is a trace of prayer in my eyes, although he cannot speak, but I still understand. He wanted me to take him away. Think for a moment before speaking. I can get you out of here, but after going out, you can't follow me. The little girl suddenly laughed, and he nodded his head. By the way, little girl, after I fell from the sky that day, have you seen a small bronze incense burner? The little girl nodded, then trot to the side room. Not long after, he came out hugging the flick. I breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, I didn't lose it. After packing up, I took him out of the village. Somehow along the way, the doors and windows of every household are covered with the word happy. We ran for a long time. He didn't stop until he was exhausted. Little girl, let's separate here. Ie. Hear this. The little girl immediately panicked, holding my arm and refusing to let go, and I sighed. If in Qin, I can keep her safe. Qinan Huang is more than 100,000 miles away from the state of Qin. It must be a burden to carry her, but found that there was a slight snoring sound around him. Maybe it's because I'm too tired. The little girl actually fell asleep. I bit my finger so hard. Wipe a few drops on each other's lips. I don't know these few drops of blood. Can I get you to start talking again? And I left the little girl alone. I set out alone without looking back. So I walked for another 7 days. 7 nights later, I saw a small town. There is a stone tablet at the gate of the town. It says Gongzi Town. Town car water Marlong. People come and go. In stark contrast to the poverty of the southern wilderness. It's just that I found people don't seem to trade with money here, but with blood droplets. There will be a white jade guanine in front of each product. The seller just slashes his wrist. Let the blood drip on the white jade guanine. You can pick and choose what you want, and the price of each item seems to be related to low blood volume. It's a strange place. I don't want to stay here too long. As long as you find out how to get to the Central Plains, we'll leave immediately. So I just picked a pub with a lot of people. As soon as I sat down, a clerk came over. Sir, we have good wine and good meat. What would you like? Let me ask you something. The child did not respond to me immediately. He was pointing at the wall. Sir, look. I look back. The sign on the wall says 8 words. Everything pays. No bargaining. And I sighed. The last jar of the best wine in your store. 5 or 6 more side dishes at random. I didn't want to bleed like everyone else. Fear of your own immortal secret was discovered by the people here. But now there is no way. Okay sir. 36 hours. Please pay. I have some doubts. What does that mean? Sir, is this your first time in Purdue County? Everything here is in exchange for lifespan. A drop of blood is equivalent to the life of a stick of incense. Your table dish. It takes about 36 hours to live. It will take about 1 night. This little too. In fact, it was obvious from the beginning that this was my first time here. So the quotation is also several times higher. Life for goods. This is the first time I've heard of this weird way. There is no way. I can only bite my fingers. Dropped a drop of blood on guanine. I didn't expect. Avalokiteshvara just fell apart. How could this be? Xiaoer froze in place for a while. I'm also a little confused, but the waiter's expression told me this is not right. At this time, the waiter also recovered. Enough is enough. You've lost 30 years of your life in one fell swoop. It's more than enough to empty our batteries. And as he spoke, he gathered up the pieces, then run to the back kitchen. I'm still muttering weird. This is stupid. A single strand of blood is worth 30 years of someone's life. I will always let the lady boss pit him again, although the sound is small. But this sentence still makes me listen to ordinary people. I heard it clearly. Fortunately, the secret of blood doesn't seem to have been discovered. Pretty soon, the clerk filled the table with good wine and food. mood. Even the attitude has become much more charming. Uncle, how does it taste? SOSO. The wine is not bad. The dishes are generally not small. Let the kitchen redo them for you. The clerk rubbed his hands together. Nod and bow. That's not necessary. I ask you how to get to the Central Plains. How long does it take to reach the Central Plains? You still want to go to the Central Plains? The clerk suddenly changed his face. Everyone else in the store is hearing this. They also looked over. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm from the country. I want to do some business. I feel that the atmosphere is not right. I changed my tune. Seeing that the waiter on the side also changed into a smiling face. Start to smooth things out. It's from the countryside. No wonder it's not better now than before. Don't talk nonsense in the future. As he spoke, he dismissed the audience. I can't help but feel a little weird. Is the word Central Plains some kind of taboo speech? The waiter leaned in front of me. I know you have a lot of doubts right now. You just give me a drop of blood. I'll take you to see the lady boss. He is the boss of Gongzi Town. Can solve all your difficulties. When Yang I nodded. Bleeding will solve the problem. I've never tasted anything better. Let's go now. Sir, please wait a little longer. Our lady boss sleeps during the day. Go to the casino at night. Let's go over when it gets dark. And I looked outside. It is estimated that it will be dark in 2 or 3 hours. Wait, just wait. I'm bored. I began to listen to other people's conversations. You know what? 8 days ago, New Jikin was slaughtered by Sage Purdue's men. It seems to be because of the wedding day. A mute little girl ran away without permission. This little girl is really brave. Since Sage Purdue came to Nanhuang, this is the first person who dared to disobey him. I already knew it. Now the whole Purdue church is looking for that little girl. Just grab and turn it in. Live reward for 10 years. The dead will also be rewarded for 2 years. Here. I was taken aback. This says, isn't it the little girl who ran away with me? I listened for a long time. I probably understand. This Sage Purdue suddenly appeared more than 10 years ago, ruler of the southern wilderness. Although I really want to save this little girl. But the most important thing for me right now, or go back to Chin. More is better than less. How time flies. It's night in a flash. The clerk is also going to take me to see the lady boss. Sir, our lady boss is a big shot. It's just that her personality is a little uncertain. Big shot? Is she as good as Purdue's Yan? The clerk heard the words, hastily covered my mouth. How can the lady boss compare with the wise master of Purdue? The lady boss is not even qualified to enter the Purdue church. I'm a little weird. How can a sect achieve such prestige? Sir, you don't know. Because of the arrival of the Sage Purdue, let us civilians lose just a little life. You can live a better life than the Central Plains, although his followers are a bit cruel. But Wizard Purdue is a great good man. Hear this, and it dawned on me. Many of the products sold by merchants come from the Central Plains. Aren't you afraid of using up your lifespan? The least valuable thing in the southern wilderness is human life. Before the Wizard Purdue came, killing people for a bite to eat. Is this still rare? That's all. We talked and walked down the dark street until you enter a corner. What comes into view is a high-rise building with blue tiles and red walls. There are 3 big characters of Huajian building written on it. There are 5 floors. The first 3 floors are brothels. The last 2 floors are the gambling room. The lady boss comes here every night to play a few words. So are the expenses here also useful for life? The clerk nodded. Of course, let's go. Sir, let's go in. Then he pulled me inside. Enter the building. What came into view was a huge white jade guanyin. The level of luxury inside is far more exaggerated than I thought. When the rich pay, the blood of domestic servants or the poor is used, and the poor or gamblers can only use their own blood. Once their lifespan comes to an end, it'll turn into a mummy in an instant, slowly shrinking into a dry little meatball. The waiter and I walked up the mahogany stairs. Soon they arrived at the casino on the 4th floor. This layer is polluted by gamblers, and feasting on the first 3 floors. A stark contrast is formed. Uncle, this is the only place in Gongzi Town that can survive. As long as you are lucky, you can win life from others. It just takes 9 layers to fold. For example, you have won the 10-year lifespan. If you can, change it to 1 year of Yangshuo. Can still do this. Then I'll play too and try it. I was immediately interested in classical Chinese. Anyway, I'm immortal. In case a way is found, you can also transfer your life to conspiracy. Okay, I'll arrange it for you now. And he went to find the crops in front of him, and I listened carefully to their conversation from a distance. Brother, I brought a piglet today. He will die with a wisp of blood. The lifespan of others is 30 years. Are you sure this kind of energetic person? You may not be among 100,000 people. The dealer narrowed his eyes, carefully looked at me in the distance. Absolutely. I saw him blow up guanyin with my own eyes today, but I want 10% of the profit. The dealer looks down and thinks for a moment. Just continue to speak. I can only give you half of it. This kind of person has to let the lady boss go out in person. The clerk nodded. Come back to me. Uncle, everything is settled. Just follow me. And it's the lady boss who bet with you in person. And he was saying this while leading me to a luxury gaming table. You have to bet. The dealer looked at me before opening his mouth. Yeah, it's me. Our lady boss has a rule. Just get to the gaming table. Must follow. Can't stop until ordered to run out. Okay, no problem. I know this guy is trying to eat me clean, but I said yes. The dealer turned around to find the lady boss when he heard the words. After a while, a stunning beauty came down from the 5th floor. Oh, there are still people who want to bet with me. Is it too long? Let me see which one is not long-eyed. Halfway through, he suddenly walked up to me. The little face looks good. Sister likes it. I want to bet, but I don't know much. I have the final say in what to play. I hope the lady boss can agree. Interesting, you should know my rules. You can't stop when the game starts. Tell me what you want to play. One game of the dice. I lost all my blood, all dripping into your white jade guanine. This kid is really horny. Crazy. The punters around are whispering. A little surprised. Har har, little brother. Is that how you want your sister? The lady boss thinks I'm like those womanizers. He is also here to risk his life for his body. I'm a little confused. What is this and what? I have no interest in your body. Interesting, you lose. Just tell me how to get to the border of the Central Plains. As soon as this sentence comes out, I felt it right away. The lively gambling parties around actually quieted down in an instant. Several eyes looked at me in unison. Give me a break. When you come to my flower room, you have to follow my rules. If you have anything to do, go out and solve it. The lady boss suddenly roared. This brings these eager gamblers. Press in place. Boy, what do you want to know? As long as I win. But first I have to see how much life you have left. The cost of traveling to the Central Plains is very high. The lady boss has already heard from her subordinates. My vitality is high, but he had to confirm it himself. He finished. He brought me to the huge white jade guanine. Put your hand on it. I'll see if your life is long enough to bet with me. At this time, the lady boss was also a little scared. After all, going to the Central Plains is a taboo for general education, although he was afraid of being implicated. But the gambler made him want to play with me again. I thought for a moment and then nodded. These guys just seem to think I'm energetic. I'm not thinking about immortality. It's okay to give it a try. Then I followed the instructions of the lady boss. Put your hand on the white jade guanine. Suddenly in Guanine's ears, a bunch of flies flew out. 3 rapidly changing words formed above my head. 1 son, 2 sons, until he became a white man. The lady boss quickly stopped drinking. Enough is enough. You don't have to go on. 6,000 years of bleeding. Let a group of people stay in place in fright. The lady boss quickly pulled me aside, and the white jade guanine also cracked a gap at this time. The lady boss knows. White jersey is the limit of white jade guanine, rather than the limits of this person in front of you. How can your blood be like this? Exuberant chi and blood. You mean lifespan? Neither did I. A drop of blood actually cracked guanine. Not really. Chi and blood only represent the intensity of life. It's not length. Like a battlefield, generals who have killed countless enemies may not live long, but the chi and blood are a lot of ordinary people. After listening to the lady boss, my hanging heart just calmed down. So be it. I bet with others and always want justice and fairness. Equal bet. I don't have 6,000 years to live, but I have a way to join the Purdue cellar. I'll bet you with this. The lady boss finished. The gamblers around are boiling. Join Purdue sellers. This bet, that's worth more than 6,000 years. People are puzzled. Lady boss, why would you gamble with something so important? If I had known, even the lady boss herself, they are not qualified to be a servant girl of the general education. Wait, are you mistaken? I was interrupted before I could finish speaking. It's really cheap for you this time. I wanted to keep it a secret. Somebody bring that little girl up. Soon a cage was lifted up, but when I saw the little girl inside, I was shocked. In the cage, it's actually the dumb little girl I left behind a few days ago. The little girl at this time is covered in wounds, squatting in the corner of the cage, shivering. He saw me for a brief moment, and he turned away from me. This dumb chick is the guy Purdue wants. As long as you can get him to write, who escaped from Newgier village with him, you can join Purdue. This moment, I see. The little girl is afraid that others will find out that I know him. She turned away from me. I don't know why there is a trace of guilt in my heart. I adjusted my mindset. Just continue to speak. The person who escaped with him. How does Purdue know this? Is not clear. I heard that it was the decree issued by Sage Purdue himself. It seems to be at the chick's house. Find someone who can be reborn. My heart suddenly trembled. At that time, in order to resist the effects of anesthesia, I bit my tongue once. Unexpected negligence of consciousness. It caused so much trouble. Come on, let's decide. You lose. I want 6,000 years of your life. I lost chi and blood. This chick and I are all yours tonight. The lady boss picked up the head cup on the table. Start shaking. Good one is life and death. Because of some guilt for the little girl, I've been a little distracted. Before hearing her words clearly, the conditioned reflex hardened. I also picked up the head cup and shook it. Roll the dice. It's the only skill I've learned in Peach Blossom Land over the years, because my hearing is different from ordinary people. You can hear points with practice, but this lady boss is obviously an old gambler. I have been wrapped tightly with my hands for life. It greatly influenced my judgment. But just as the lady boss was about to smash the head clock against the table, and I yelled, "Wizard Purdue, I can't stand this voice." The lady boss panicked instantly. Even the clock in his hand shook. You know, shout this sentence in the southern wilderness. It is no less than shouting in front of the silver tower to destroy the state of Qin. Listening to the clear crash of the sieve in the lady boss's hand, I know I'm sure this time, so I put my head on the table. Madam Boss, please open. Is this still necessary? Little brother, you know. What were the consequences of your insulting the wise teacher just now? I don't know. Why don't one of you report it? When talking to Xiaoer before, I found the general education cruel. If someone reports it, it will inevitably harm the pond fish. Sure enough, after hearing this sentence, everyone downstairs is a mess. Leave the boss in a hurry. Mother helplessly snorted and waited for me at night. Then he turned and left, and I'm with a little girl with a lot of bruises. I found an unoccupied room on the 3rd floor. Went in. After closing the door, I bit my hand and pointed it to the little girl's mouth to drip. The little girl's pale cheeks had a hint of blood. Big brother, I didn't tell them who you are. I'm a little surprised. Can you speak? Well, I woke up that night and found that I could talk. But don't worry, big brother. The bad guys don't know yet. The little girl's tone is very arrogant. Seems to be taking credit. Oh, you are such a silly girl. Don't talk now. Keep drinking blood obediently until the body fully recovers. After the little girl drank a few more drops of blood, pushed my hand away. Can't drink anymore. If only the wounds on my body would heal in a while. They will suspect. Just then, the sound of the lady boss's light steps came from outside the door. The little brother and sister are very trustworthy. Came for you. The little girl on the side heard a voice, hastily found a corner to lie down. Pretend to have passed out. The little brother has been waiting for a long time. The moment I opened the door, the lady boss took a step forward. What are you doing? Because of mind wandering before, I didn't hear this book, including the lady boss. Oh, aren't you interested in me? Madam Boss, you are joking. I just want to travel to the Central Plains. And how to get the exchange life? Want to exchange Yansho? You only have to bet 1,500 years, then go to the general supervision in person. As for this way to get to the Central Plains, aren't you in a hurry? Madam Boss, tell me in detail. Mentioning the Central Plains in the southern wilderness seems to have committed a big taboo. The lady boss saw that my attention was not on him. Can't help but get a little angry. Sitting on the bed. Don't give this to the old lady. Those who want to get my mother are arranged from the southern wilderness to the Central Plains. You kid really don't know what's good or bad. I put on a smiley face, pressed his shoulders. Don't pinch your shoulders. My legs are sore. Thump your legs. After a while, the lady boss just opened her mouth. For the sake of you being so good, I'll tell you. Since Sage Perdue came to Nanhuang 30 years ago, all roads to the Central Plains were blocked. It also stipulates that no one can mention leaving the Southern Emperor if you want to go to the Central Plains. I'm afraid it doesn't have to be approved by Sage Perdue. Exactly a few days later, that's when the sheriff of Perdue came to collect his taxes. You can ask him, with any luck, and maybe meet the Perdue wizard himself. Tax collection. Is this Sage Perdue going to be the king of Nanhuang? Then you really underestimate him. He has to collect 80% of the taxes on all the merchants in the southern wilderness. There's really no other way to get out of here. The lady boss nodded. Not only do you want to escape, there are many others. Even the Tang 100,000 troops stationed at the border. Been trapped for so many years. Are you from Nanhuang? Why don't you know anything? I am indeed not from the southern wilderness. I am from Daqin. The lady boss stood up abruptly. Daqin, you fart. When did the Qin people in the southern wilderness have you as a character? Sword unsheathed. You and Jua Hashan compete for the capital of other countries. Suddenly my hands were behind my back. Deep voice opening. The lady boss's face suddenly turned pale. Who are you? How do you know this sentence? And I didn't listen to him. He asked rhetorically. Say the next sentence. Prove your identity to me. Tiger and wolf teacher. Why Rushenlei? Like a galloping horse. No bleeding. Fight to the death. Just a clang. The lady boss is kneeling on the ground. Keep your head down. It was just now, when I massaged the lady boss. Discover, she actually has a black-white tattoo on her leg. This is the exclusive imprint of General Bai of the state of Qin. You are white general. People under the army. By Jiajun's secretly artesian flow. The lady boss was so scared that she broke into a cold sweat. By Jiajun's code word. Except for General Bai. Only then did the king of Qin know. I close my eyes. Start recalling the previous records. You are from 13 years ago. War broke out between Tang and Zhao. Sent to help Zhao. A member of the 500-man squad that assassinated General Tang. After this team all disappeared. The whole Qin dynasty thought they had betrayed. Even General Bai was demoted to an ordinary general. Yes, 13 years ago, we assassinated the Prince of Tang, with the Tang army entering the Southern Emperor. But I didn't expect it to arrive in Nanhuang not long ago. The way back was blocked by Sage Perdue. I see. You get up first. And I did. Motion him to stand up. Who are you, my lord? At this time, the lady boss is no longer as frivolous as before. It's standing by the side. At that time, the brother of the king of Qin Yinlu. You are actually a member of the royal family. My lord, please forgive my offense just now. The lady boss is now kneeling on the ground again. Cold sweat DC. In the state of Qin, 3 clans would be executed. He forgot to ask me for a second. Why did you come to Nanhuang? Get up after so many years. You didn't think about running away from here. Return to Qin. Mr. Wei. We people go back to Qin all the time. Only, there's nothing we can do to compete with Perdue. But, adults may have the opportunity to leave here recently. What do you mean? We have already planned with the leader of the Tang army. If it goes well, it won't take long to find find out about Perdue. Capture the sage Perdue alive. Joining forces with the enemy is taboo. That's why the lady boss explained in advance. But right now I don't care at all. Almost sure when to start. Just a few days later, when Perdue called the elders to collect taxes, about 70% sure. That's why he keeps asking the little girl the reason for the child, because he wanted to go to Perdue Point early. When the time comes, there should be another internal and external cooperation. The success rate can be higher. Okay, so be very careful. Be sure to confirm that Tang Jun cannot turn against the water. Please rest assured. Prince Tang was trapped for 13 years. More than anyone else wants to go back and inherit the throne. And I nodded my head. Wait until the time to return to Qin. I take credit for you to the king. The lady boss of Wenyang kowtowed to me a few more times. Thank you, my lord. I didn't tell him to get up immediately. It's condescending. Look at him coldly. By the way, the one who tortured this dumb little girl. Is it a secret, brother? I'm not the only one in the entire Young Master Township office. Everyone else is in the dark. The lady boss felt the killing intent. Now I regret it. I know this person may have something to do with me. This person has been very kind to me. You know the drill. Understand? So I told him to back off. After the lady boss goes out, aggressive, walk towards the servants' lounge. A bunch of things without eyes. I want to live. Tear you up. In the room, I called up the little girl who was pretending to be asleep. Continue blood feeding treatment. Big brother, did you lie to her just now? You have to think of a way quickly. Otherwise, the lady boss may react tomorrow. The little girl blinked her big eyes. Look at me innocently. I'm a little surprised. I didn't expect him to be so smart. Although I have a countermeasure. But I still want to see what the little girl has to say. I did lie to him. What do you think I should do in the future? The little girl thought about it. Just use your royal status to pressure. Don't do anything else. Anyway, you've already said the code word. The rest is up to him. And I was shocked. This little girl is not only smart. I also understand the art of emperors. Can you cultivate it well in the future? By the way, I have known you for so long. I don't know your name yet. The little girl shook her head. I don't know. They all call me Dead Girl. You can follow me from now on. The first time we met was in Tangquan, and you are in Newjir village. Why don't you call it New Tangquan? Or you can come up with a nice name. The little girl pouted. I don't seem to like the name. I don't want to be called such an ugly name. My name is Luoyang, because I want to see where Qianzi lived in the Central Plains. And there's my favorite peach blossom cake there. Okay, let's get out of here. Back to Qin Valley. I will definitely take you to eat. Xiao Luoyang stretched out his hand. That's it for the pull hook. We made a simple promise. It was late at night and soon we were both asleep, and I went back to the Silver Tower. The body takes advantage of the golden cicader to rest. Overnight correction memorial. Until the next morning, I was awakened by a knock on the door. I saw that the lady boss seemed a little tired. There's still some blood on the clothes. I've dealt with those people, my lord. And I nodded my head. In response, there was something I didn't understand last night. 13 years ago, Nanwang was sealed by Sage Perdue. How did you get in? Another one. When did you come to the southern wilderness more than 100,000 miles away from the state of Qin? My eyes instantly became cold. Picked up the teacup on the table and fell to the ground. Why do you want to commit the following crimes? Or do you have to report to you what the king of Qin does? I dare not. The lady boss was so frightened that she knelt on the ground again. I feel an aura that ordinary people can't match. He now believed it almost completely. Don't dare to have a trace of doubt. See this scene. I helped him up again. It's the patient who wins. This is not Daqin. No need to kneel all the time. I still need to work hard with my brothers who are secretly self-employed. Escape from the southern wilderness. Lord Xie, don't call me lady boss in the future. I can't afford it. My name is Hong Liangyu. You can call me Liangyu. And I nodded my head. Yesterday was too hasty. Tell me more about it. What's up with this sage Perdue? What's the plan? In fact, it is not very clear below. The Perdue wise are rarely seen, although many people praise him. But a cult that collects longevity. Definitely not a good thing. And I also heard that this Perdue wizard is not a human being. It's a lower Budo. It's the evil of mutation. I didn't respond to his words. His looking down and thinking. Our plan was simple. When the headmaster comes to collect the tax 10 days later, my brother who is secretly self-employed and I applied for him first. Then he joined Tang Jun and went to Perdue Church. Apply for Perdue sages. I have some doubts. Why not go straight to Perdue? Liangyu explained. Because in addition to the growth of each county, no one knows the true location of Perdue. Oh, I see. You go down first. Obey your lord. After Liangyu left, Xiao Luoyang also woke up. Big brother, this Perdue sage ruled the southern wilderness for 13 years. It's definitely not that simple. I smiled. I understand all this. Liangyu must be hiding something. Otherwise, why would you endure 13 years before doing it? Okay, let's not talk about it. I'll show you around these days. Eat something good. I promised you. I haven't forgotten. Okay, thank you, big brother. Xiao Luoyang smiled sweetly. In the days to come, I lead Xiao Luoyang around every day. As for the cost, of course, it was reimbursed by Huarganlu to the audience, and so on until the 7th day. Liangyu pushed open my door in a panic. Adults are not good. The 100,000 we work with, Tang Jun, can't be reached. Disappeared upon hearing hearing this, I was also surprised, but before I can react, Yarn Yu took another sentence. Sage Perdue will come to Gongzi Town in person tomorrow. Don't worry, there's something else going on. If the wise master of Perdue really has a town, the supernatural power that can make 100,000 disappear out of thin air, why live in the southern wilderness? Let's not talk about that. Didn't you say that Sage Perdue rarely shows up? Why did he come in person this time? I'm not very sure either, but it feels like this is a rare opportunity. Why don't you take him down in one fell swoop? That's a little reckless. And I thought for a moment, something feels wrong. Please rest assured, as long as you can get close to Sage Perdue, I'm sure I can kill him in 3 moves. Looking at Liang Yu so firmly, I can't say anything. Okay, so stick to your plan. In a flash the sun has set. I took advantage of the time. Take a quick nap, replaced with a silver building. The library where this body goes. You mean, is there no record of the wise men of Perdue here? Yes, your majesty. And the surgeon responds respectfully. And when the old minister visited the Central Plains, never heard of him. This also makes me a little curious. Who is this Perdue wizard? Then I asked the handwriting person to investigate the royal changes in the Tang dynasty this year, because the foreign prince was arrested. This Tang king actually didn't raise his army to attack the southern desolate. This is so incredible. After explaining these, I went back to the Golden Toad. Just opened my eyes. I saw a part of Lord Liang Yu's secret self-management. Brother, it's a pity that the remaining troops are still behind. I nod my head. Show me. Then, Liang Yu took me to a private room in Huajian building. I saw a group of people wearing plain clothes in the house. Men and women with rough skin. White Peach and everyone, stop for a while. This is the brother of the current king of Qin. Come and see everyone. Hear this. Everyone in the house was stunned. They have been away from Darqin for more than 10 years. I can still see the royal family. Brother of the king of Qin. Xiaoyu, do you know what you're talking about? This is a middle-aged man in his 30s. Asked angrily. Hong Liangyu is not angry, and he knew that. Love is hard to accept for a while. Bai Dao knows the code of our Bai army. Do you know that the password is the royal family? Liang Yu, you are so careless. And he was saying this. He drew his sword and pointed it at me. Bai army secretly self-operated white ape General Bai Dao. Younger brother and grandson of General Bai. How about you? Give me your name. Younger brother and grandson of General Bai. That is the eldest son of General Baiyu. Did you Fujian pass into your hands? Facing his questioning, I'm not annoyed. Instead, he smiled at him. Bai Dao looked shocked. How do you know you Fujian? Zheng Nian, the previous king of Qin, made great military contributions to the general. Privately gave a sword, named Yu Fu sword. However, I heard that after his eldest grandson became an adult, he will give you this sword. But in this matter, only father and grandfather know. Bai Dao is also a little more certain of my identity at this time. I heard General Bai mention you before. 13 years ago, all the troops disappeared secretly. He was labeled treason. Even General Bai was implicated. Became an ordinary general. Hear this. Bai Dao and the rest of the secretly self-employed people were furious. How could our Bai army possibly betray our country? Who made up the rumor? They all take pride in the Bai army. Treason is a disgrace to them. See this scene. I just kept talking. But don't worry. As long as you leave the southern wilderness, back to Darqin, I will definitely return your innocence. As soon as this sentence comes out, and everybody quieted down, Bai Dao no longer questions my identity. I just want to go back to the state of Qin to clear up injustice. Remember to bring fish for tomorrow's action. Annex. According to legend, this sword was stained with the blood of a certain emperor in the Central Plains. Can break through all evil. Good subordinate. The next time, we start the detailed deployment of troops. It wasn't arranged until after midnight, but just then, a large dark cloud appeared over the entire young master formation. A strange sound of gongs and drums broke the silence of the night. I saw 2 rows of red sedan chairs appear in the town. The front of the sedan chair. It's a group of nuns singing scriptures in a low voice. In the back there is a huge lotus platform. Somebody's coming. Heard a sound. I hurriedly looked out the window. Gongs and drums, scriptures. Could it be that Sage Perdue has arrived at the gate of the town? Hong Liangyu is also a little fierce. I clearly said before that it will arrive at 50. Why so much in advance? It's okay to continue as planned. Liangyu, you go do other things. The other brothers are scattered in the foil tower. Play by chance. Meanwhile, in the small town, many residents are curious. They all came out. Strangely enough, just one look at the line walking through the town. They generate momentary facts. Soon the team arrived at the gate of the foil tower. I saw the team. A bald man with a fat head and big ears came out. Walked straight into the building. The lady boss of Huajian building. Come out and meet. Perdue nosy. Here comes the little girl. Hong Liangyu walked out with a smile. Master Palm, didn't you say it would arrive at noon? Why did you advance so much? How to arrive early? Do I still need to notify you? Hong Liangyu resisted her wretched gaze. Continue to speak delicately. Look at what you said. Beauty and wine, I've already prepared for adults. This headmaster is notoriously lustful and delicious. Every year when collecting taxes, Hong Liangyu will prepare these things. The headmaster laughed heartily. Our Xiaoyu is still sensible. When will you not be the boss lady? But be sure to come to me. Hong Liangyu Qian squeezed out a smile. Sir, you are joking. If it weren't for the order of of the wizard Perdue to collect taxes. Those with a lifespan of more than 3,000 years cannot use strong. I'm afraid this trend has already done something out of the ordinary. After the growth is finished, he swaggered in. Go to Hong Liangyu. He looked at the motionless sedan team outside. My lord, they didn't wait for him to finish speaking. He was interrupted by the growth. Never mind, there's more. Remember to notify the townspeople. Sage Perdue is not allowed to go out until he leaves. Sir, is Sage Perdue on the lotus stage? Can I go and prepare leaks for him to receive the wind and dust? The long man didn't turn his head back and snorted lightly. That's not what you want to see. After the teacher went to the room prepared for him, Bai Dao, who was disguised by the side, whispered in code. We must find a way to get the Perdue wise men out. Only by getting close to him. In 3 steps, I have a way to succeed. Liang Yu sighed. Don't worry, I'll figure it out. 2 hours passed in a flash. He was enjoying himself in the room before he came out. 1 step to the table, and Hong Liang Jade was also waiting outside for a long time. Har har har, Xiaoyu is really sensible. In the future, I will praise you a few more words in front of my business. My lord, I have long admired business. Can you give me a chance to see his true face? Liang Yu finished speaking. He took out another exquisite wooden box. This time the growth did not refuse. He opened the box. I saw a top-notch dragon root inside. Lord Rome, I believe in this thing. It will give you a better experience in the future. I went to a lot of trouble to find it. The headmaster's eyes glowed. That's a good thing. Xiaoyu, you have a heart. Tomorrow, I will arrange for you to go to the lotus stage to buckle for the Meigai. Hong Liangyu breathed a sigh of relief. It's finally done. After eating and drinking, growth returns to the room, snoring like thunder, and at the same time, everyone in the dark is gearing up, waiting for the sun to rise. Just then, and I opened the door. Guys, I still feel a little weird. Let me ask you something. Those who are secretly self-employed see me with a sad face. Some are unclear. 100,000 the source of Tang Jun's disappearance. It's a long story, but the news must be reliable. Bai Dao's tone is very determined. I looked down and thought, I just got word from the barracks. 13 years ago, when the Tang state sent troops to crusade against the southern famine, stopped at the border for a few days before returning the same way, and after this incident, the king of Tang re-established the crown prince. So it seems, Tang seems to be the same as the Perdue Meigai. Some kind of deal was reached. I asked you who the leader of the Tang army was, although the prince did not have any soldiers, but still the coach. But the decision maker is indeed a general. After speaking, Bai Dao seemed to have noticed something. If I'm not mistaken, the prince of the Tang dynasty was replaced 13 years ago. Tomorrow's assassination is cancelled. 100,000 Tang Jun disappeared is a lie. This time Perdue's Yansha came. There is a high probability that he wants to cooperate with Tang Jun inside and outside. Destroy you people. White Peach torn half a sound. Just continue to speak. Xiaoshu Man has been under orders for 13 years. This is his first time out of Perdue. Even if it costs me my life, I want to try too. And I sighed. That being the case, then I'll stay out of it. Everything is under your command. But don't reveal my existence. If I'm wrong, wait until you return to Qin. Beauty award. And I left. Bai Dao's tone was also full of confidence. Sir, please walk slowly. I will decide on the head of Sage Perdue tomorrow. At this time, Xiaoyu, why is there anyone else besides you? Chansha asked with dissatisfaction. My lord, they all admire Perdue as much as I do. Nosy for a long time. I hope you can give us a chance. Hong Liangyu said. One side and several people. At the same time, he took out several wooden boxes full of treasures. The party member glanced at it disdainfully. Forget it, although the Meigai didn't like it. But it's your heart after all. Take it while in the meantime. Xiao Luoyang and I are watching on the corner of the street. They slowly approached the lotus platform. Little girl, leave Gongzi town quickly. Wait for me 20 kilometers from the north face. Okay, big brother. Be careful. Xiao Luoyang didn't ask why. Instead, he sneaked directly out of town. Something is wrong. Could it be that this Perdue wizard is not a human being? Because my hearing is different from ordinary people. I found that neither the sedan chair nor the nuns. There is no sound of breathing. And inside the lotus platform covered with white yarn. It's just the sound of meatballs hitting metal. At this time, the headmaster shouted, have you forgotten the rules? If you want to see the wizard of Perdue, you must kneel 3 times. Several people immediately knelt down when they heard the words, and the headmaster showed a smirk of a group of ants. Do you really think the Meigai don't know? And I couldn't bear to look at it, but it's too late to stop now. Just when the White Peach is within 3 steps of the lotus stage, I saw him shout and do it. Then several people went under the wooden box at the same time. Draws his sword, stabbed into a lotus platform covered in white sharks. White Peach's fish belly sword. After a metallic crash, suddenly came the feeling of piercing into the flesh. He was surprised. It was so easy. Then his going to lift the white shark. But don't wait for him to do it. A giant crane came from behind. You guys deserve to see the real face of Sage Perdue. I saw that the growth at this time was much bigger. He spat out a mouthful of poisonous phlegm. It's easy. Penetrated the head of a secret self-employed brother. Brothers, kill him for me. See your partner get killed. White Peach. Hong Liangyu and his brothers lurking in the dark. They killed the past. But I didn't expect the sword to cut on Chansha. But it doesn't hurt it in the slightest. Hong Liangyu was also a little surprised. This growth is in his eyes. I have always been a gluttonous and lustful ordinary person, but now why is it invulnerable? Who are you? Joy Arhat under the wise master of the general inspector. Har har Xiaoyu. If you can spend the spring night with me later, I might be able to spare your life. You dream of Hong Liangyu staring at each other fiercely. Brothers follow me, all under the leadership of Bai Dao. Once again, I killed Chang Jiao, but it's still only on Chang Jiao. Light scratches left. Hiding in the dark, I can't help but have some doubts. It's not that this fish accessory can break through shoe shards. Is it one of the absolute soldiers of the Central Plains? Why does it look similar to ordinary weapons? Suddenly suffered 1,000 knives and shouted, "Let Yuans open your eyes today. See how powerful my Arhat is." I saw a sudden wave of his palm. A brother who was secretly self-employed was crushed by the waist. The others saw this and fought again, and the headmaster seems to have lost patience. The killing spree began. Bai Dao was also attacking. He was beaten to pieces by his president, dying to fly to my side. "Sir, I'm sorry. I was wrong. If you can return to Qin in the future, please prove my innocence to the king. This is the token and fish belly sword of the dark self-camp. I'll leave it to you later. Don't wait for my response." And he closes his eyes, and I sighed, then picked up the fish belly sword. I can't even kill a fat man. It can't be a fake, can it? But suddenly, I knew something was wrong. This fish belly sword, it seems to be swallowing my life in a steady stream, and it seems to be adsorbed on my hand. Can't get rid of it. After half a stick of incense, the fish-bellied sword actually forcibly pulled me to fly towards the growth, and I was shocked. "It's over. Isn't this going to be exposed?" "Sir, why are you here? The only surviving Hong Liangyu on the field. I thought I was going to avenge my brother who secretly ran his own business. Who are you?" Looking back, I don't want to. It was directly inserted into the body by the fish-belly sword. How is that possible? Arhat body with green thorns. How could it be hurt by a broken sword? But when he was about to fight back with a huge palm, Yu Fujian seemed to have an independent consciousness. It was easy to chop off his arms. Then he cut him into several pieces in an instant. Hong Liangyu looked shocked. I didn't expect me to have such supernatural powers. I'm also a little confused. What the hell is going on with Yu Fujian? Wait for us to relax. The white yarn on the lotus platform was violently blown up by a gust of wind. At the same time, 99 pairs of boys and girls also walked out of the 2 rows of sedan chairs. Just don't know why. And everybody had their heads down. Purdue Temple. All need to rise. Sudden did not know who shouted. Subsequently, I saw all the newcomers take out their bones. Built a huge white Buddhist altar. In front of it is a long white street made of white bones. Both sides of the long street. We used the spine. Sumeru mountains built on the grain piles. What the hell is this? Hong Liangyu looked at the scene in front of him. Can't help but moan. Purdue nosy. Voice falls. The white yarn on the lotus table was blown off by the wind. A child made of gold, sitting in it vividly. There seemed to be 6 sword wounds on the body. Is this the Purdue wizard? Hong Liangyu shook his head. I don't know. I've only heard rumors before. Just then, the golden statue suddenly opened its eyes. The flesh and bones of the newcomer are high-quality magic weapons. Too bad a pair is missing. The altar is incomplete. Missing a new couple. I immediately realized the high probability of this is me and Xiao Luo Yarn. Suddenly, the golden statuette approached me again. Happy since you killed it. So are you interested in becoming a new Joy? I can give you the right. Give you an invulnerable body. Give you 100 years of life. How to text? I almost laughed out loud in my heart. I'm immortal. I still need your life. You are the sage Purdue. And I was saying this, while quietly gesturing to Hong Liangyu behind him. I can't always get down on my knees and talk to me. Wizard Purdue with his hands behind his back seems to be a little dissatisfied with my attitude. Just then, Hong Liangyu stabbed Sage Purdue in the head, but one click wasn't enough. He pulled out his long knife and stabbed at other vital points. It didn't stop until the wizard Purdue was riddled with holes, although I also want to do it, but I don't know why. The fish-bellied sword suddenly fell silent again. It's back to normal. Sir, is he dead? I frowned. I'm afraid it's not that simple. As I expected, a mist of blood began to appear on the nun's body, incorporated into the body of Sage Purdue, and he himself. It becomes a broken white jade guanine. Just you. I still want to break the golden body of this Buddha. Really delusional. He waves his arm. A prayer flag made of flesh and blood flew over, entangled the limbs of me and Hong Liangyu. Then he picked up a magic pestle, aimed at my head. The fruit of this Lohan. A lot of people want it. You fool. I actually don't know how to be grateful to Tang State. I was sent by King Tang. In order to keep my immortal secret from being exposed, I immediately shouted, "Hear this." The wizard of Purdue obviously hesitated for a moment. You know deceiving Ben Fe. Are you going to be punished for peeling your skin and tongue? I am the messenger of Tang. If you kill me, King Tang will terminate his cooperation with you. I'm totally betting on this. The reason why the Tang army stopped at the southern wasteland border 53 years ago. It's some kind of agreement with the Purdue sages. Tang Wang this old thing. Didn't I give him enough? Sage Purdue seems to be too young. The brain is not fully developed. I was really scared. Let go of me. I see this scene. Hastily continue to pressure him. Har har. Beautiful idea. idea. The old mantis is gone. I have a few years left to live. This Buddha is about to become a future Taoist priest. The past, present and future are all urgent for me. This world is mine. Finish. He was going to stab me in the head with the pestle. I also started to struggle. Broken, they are more than just a cooperative relationship. Suddenly under my fierce struggle, the fisherman's sword fell to the ground. Oh, one of the absolute soldiers of the Central Plains, the fisherman's sword. You are indeed Tang Wang's confidant. But unfortunately, this sword is a bit creepy. And he was saying this while piercing my throat with the fisherman's sword. Something is wrong with this sword. Before I figure out what to do with the test, Wizard Perdue threw his sword, and the long sword flew towards my hand with unmistakable precision, and cut the prayer flag stuck on me to pieces. Look at my wounds that are already healing slowly. Sage Perdue revealed a hint of joy and shock. Are you immortal? Har har har. God help my eyes. I sighed in my heart. The worst is yet to come. But just then, the fish-bellied sword seemed to be alive again, waving the past at the Perdue wizard again. A few knives down, Sage Perdue was chopped into many pieces, none in the distance. They have also become white jade guanine statues. A flood of blood poured over the wizard Perdue. How dare you destroy me, Jinsha? Although I am not immortal, my means of life extension can also reach the sky. Liang Yu quickly continued to attack his body. This blood enlightenment should not be infinite. It's a matter of time before he can't be reborn. Hong Liang Yu nodded in response. He also rushed over. Just because you cooperate with this Buddha, Sage Buyudu shouted. It merged with the skeleton Buddhist altar under his feet. I am merciful. Boy me, give you another chance. Become my subordinate. You and I share longevity and supernatural powers. From now on, where do we go? Where is the place of bliss? At this time, Sage Perdue merged with the Bone Buddha. The huge movement generated. It also drew out the townspeople. What the hell is this? The residents' faces were filled with panic. A bunch of incense with fear. This Buddha bestows upon you bliss. Then came the murmur of chanting, filled with the entire young master formation. And I was also influenced by the scriptures. He was shaking with excitement. This moment, I just want this extreme happiness to continue. No, what am I doing? Maybe it's because of my physique. I don't know why I woke up for a moment. So I responded quickly. Broke off 2 fingers. Punctured his eardrum. So I did exactly the same thing. It also stabbed the side. The eardrum of the red jade that fell into the illusion. Then I swung my belly sword. Cut off the feet of the wizard Perdue. Although he cut off his toes. But he continued to chant the scriptures. Not long after, the entire town of Gongzi was in joy and laughter. Turned into a puree of meat. Blood flows towards the white jade guanine. Feel the passage stop. I plucked the finger from my ear. And the blood services provided by Bayou Guanine. It also allowed Sage Perdue to grow toes again. I'll give you one last chance. As long as we can share immortality. The whole world is you and me. At that time, I don't even bother to participate in the corrupt fish orchid basin. Dream on. Voice falls. I continue to wield the sword again. Cut off his arms. But because the white jade guanine has always been there. Because of the continuous supply of blood to him, equipment immediately grows back. Har har har. Don't bother anymore. Among these 100 relics, 660,000 years of blood and life. If you cut it for 10 years, you will cut it. I heard that. I made it right away. If these white jade guanine could suddenly explode. Just the next second, a flash of light flashed through my mind. Yeah, I can still do this. And I immediately started using sign language. Chao Hong Liang Yu roughly drew, although unprofessional. Fortunately, he also understood the general meaning. Just like that, Hong Liang Yu continued to attack. I took advantage of the lack of attention from the wise men of Perdue. Ran to Bayou Guanine. Raised the fish belly sword. Megai Perdue smiled dismissively. With your broken sword, and you want to destroy my relic. The corners of my mouth are also slightly raised. I'm really going to destroy them, but not with this sword. Finish. I plunged the sword into my own heart. Immediately after, a large amount of blood gushed out. The wizard of Perdue also reacted violently to you. What do you want? But it's too late. I saw that guanine was shattered to the ground in an instant. The bone pond of the fusion of Sage's Perdue, completely torn apart. Har har har, it really works. How dare you destroy my relic? Now that the Buddha has come, he can't save you. Since the white jade guanine has been destroyed, Wizard Perdue is no longer a threat to me. Before the fish-bellied sword loses its magical power, I didn't bother to say any more, so I rushed up. Sage Perdue continued to close his eyes. I read Sanskrit that I didn't understand, and the bones of 99 pairs of newlyweds on the ground. I was surrounded by Sanskrit, so I sneered. These things are no longer magic weapons. In addition to procrastinating, no other use. But suddenly, and I knew it, not good, but here I am. It is no longer possible in a short time, out of this cage made of corpses, and at the same time, Sage Perdue also took advantage of this time. He quietly escaped from the young master's array. What an immortal. When this work is completed, the shame of those 3 bodies today must be repaid 100-fold. Just ahead of his escape route, Hong Liangyi suddenly appeared holding a long knife. There is a strong killing intent in the eyes. Their hatred of 36 brothers secretly exploded. At this time, Perdue Megai was also a little flustered. After losing the relic, he is even more vulnerable honorable than ordinary people. As long as you let me go, I'll give you anything. I grant you the Bodhisattva body. Renew your life. And this southern wilderness, I can also share it with you. I can't hear you. What are you babbling about? In Hongliang Yuli, Purdue wizard less than 3 steps. He suddenly spoke. Then the knife falls, hacked towards the Purdue Magi. At the same time, the young master's array surrounded my corpse. Suddenly lost control. I frowned. Did you let him run away? At this time, Hongliang Yu came from a distance. He came over with the head of Sage Purdue. Master Purdue has been killed by me. I avenged my brothers. Okay. I looked at the heads on the ground. He looked at Hongliang Yu again. Here we go. Xiao Luoyang is still waiting for us. Then I walked towards the north face. Hongliang Yu is standing in place. Seems to be thinking about something. And on his back, it actually slowly grew a child's face.